Some moments change a life forever, not because of money, fame, or luck, but because of one simple choice to be kind. This is one of those stories. A story that starts with a teenager, a small envelope of savings, and a decision that seemed almost foolish to others, but ended up touching more hearts than anyone could imagine. Stay with me, because what happened after he gave everything away is something no one saw coming. And it might just change the way you look at kindness forever. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional and inspiring stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us keep spreading stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be. Ethan was 17 years old and lived in a quiet middle-class neighborhood in Ohio. He wasn't popular at school, and he wasn't struggling either. He was just normal. He worked part-time at a local grocery store after school, stocking shelves and helping customers carry bags to their cars. The pay wasn't much, but Ethan saved every dollar carefully. For 3 years, he had been saving for one thing: a used car, not a fancy one. Just something reliable. Something that would help him get to college classes, to work, and maybe give him a little freedom. He kept his savings in a small metal box under his bed. Every paycheck, he counted the cash slowly, proud of how the pile had grown. By the time he turned 17, he had saved just over $3,000. To Ethan, it felt like a fortune. One rainy afternoon, after his shift at the grocery store, Ethan was walking home when he noticed something unusual near the bus stop. An elderly man was sitting on the bench, hunched over, clutching a worn backpack. His clothes were soaked, and his hands were shaking. People walked past him without slowing down, umbrellas tilted away, eyes focused forward. Ethan slowed his steps. The man looked up, their eyes met, and for a brief second, Ethan felt something heavy settle in his chest. The man didn't ask for money. He didn't say anything at all. He just looked tired. Deeply tired. Ethan hesitated. He was already late. His shoes were soaked, and he was exhausted too. But something about that look, the quiet, wordless look, stopped him. "Sir, are you okay?" Ethan asked. The man gave a weak smile. "I'll be all right, son. Just waiting out the rain." Ethan glanced at the backpack. "Do you have somewhere to go?" The man paused. "Not tonight." That was all it took. Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out the small amount of cash he had from his shift, about $20. He handed it to the man without thinking too much. The man stared at it. "I can't take this." "It's okay," Ethan said quickly. "Really? Please." The man's eyes filled with tears as he slowly took the money. "You don't know what this means." Ethan nodded, unsure what to say, and continued walking home. That night, he couldn't sleep. The image of the man sitting alone in the rain kept replaying in his mind. Ethan kept thinking about his metal box under the bed. About the money inside. About the car he wanted so badly. He also thought about something his mom used to say before she passed away 2 years earlier: "If you ever have the chance to help someone," she would tell him, "and you don't, you'll remember that longer than any money you spend." Ethan sat up in bed, heart racing. The next morning, he made a decision. He took the metal box out from under his bed and counted the money one last time. His hands trembled as he placed the bills into a large envelope. Every dollar he had saved. All of it. At the bus stop, the elderly man was there again. Ethan approached him slowly. "Sir," he said, holding out the envelope. I want you to have this." The man's eyes widened. "What is this?" "It's my savings," Ethan said, his voice shaking. "All of it?" The man shook his head. "No. I can't accept this. You're just a kid." Ethan swallowed hard. "I know. But I can earn it again. Please. Use it to get somewhere safe. Get food. Get help." For a long moment, the man said nothing. Then he broke down crying right there on the bench. People passed by, some slowing to watch, others pretending not to see. "You have no idea," the man said through tears. "No idea how much this changes everything." They sat together for a while. The man told Ethan his name was Robert. He had been a mechanic for over 30 years before medical bills and layoffs pushed him onto the streets. Ethan listened quietly when they finally parted ways. Ethan felt scared, relieved, and strangely peaceful all at once, but reality hit hard a few days later. His co-workers talked about their cars. His friends joked about road trips. Ethan smiled and nodded, but inside, he felt a sting. His savings were gone. The car dream was gone. One evening, his manager called him into the office. "Ethan," she said, "there's someone here asking for you." Confused, Ethan walked to the front of the store, and there stood Robert, but he didn't look the same. He was clean-shaven, wearing a neat jacket, standing tall with a calm confidence. For a moment, Ethan didn't even recognize him. "Robert?" Ethan asked. Robert smiled. "Thanks to you, I got a motel room. Then a shelter connected me with a local shop that needed help. I start work next week." Ethan felt a wave of relief. "That's amazing." Robert reached into his pocket and pulled out a small folded paper. "I want you to have this." Ethan unfolded it. It was a handwritten note. Inside was a phone number, an address, and a simple message: "Call this number tomorrow." Before Ethan could ask anything, Robert squeezed his shoulder. Sometimes kindness comes back in ways you don't expect. The next day, Ethan made the call. It turned out the number belonged to the owner of a local car dealership. A small, family-owned place. Robert had fixed cars for him years ago, long before everything fell apart. Ethan was invited to come in. When he arrived, the owner greeted him warmly. "Robert told me what you did," the man said. He wouldn't stop talking about it. They walked outside to the lot, and there it was. An older but well-maintained sedan. "It's not new," the owner said, "but it runs great." "And it's yours." Ethan's legs felt weak. I can't afford this." The man smiled. "You already paid." Tears filled Ethan's eyes. Word spread quickly. Customers, neighbors, even strangers heard about the teen who gave away all his savings to help someone in need. The local news picked up the story. Donations poured into the shelter where Robert stayed. More people volunteered. More people helped, but Ethan never saw himself as a hero. "I just did what felt right," he said in one interview. Anyone could have done it. Yet many didn't. That's what made his kindness so powerful. Ethan learned something that year, something no car or savings account could ever teach him. Kindness isn't about how much you have. It's about how much you're willing to give, even when it's hard. And sometimes, when you give from the heart, the world finds a way to give back, often in ways you never expected. So if this story moved you, let it remind you of this: you never know how one small act can ripple outward, changing lives, including your own. Be kind. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when it costs you something, because kindness has a way of finding its way home.